All right, well, hello, SpeedGaming 3, and welcome to a very exciting match of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, the awesome Final Fantasy VI Randomizer. We've got a pretty good one tonight. We have three racers competing in our Tournament of the Month. That would be Hefe01, the Schwantz 27, and Kurgzy. And the name of this particular tournament is Loose Glass Cannon. You will find out what glass cannon means exactly as this goes on, but as we can see from the opening screens, the objective of this game is to find 10 espers, which will allow you to enter Kefka's Tower, the final dungeon of the game, where you can take on Kefka himself and win the game. You can also skip to near the end of Kefka's Tower if you defeat 3 of the 5 bosses named here, and ooh, some of them are tough. I am Fantastodon. Joining me is Zelfer1. Zelfer, how are you feeling about our race tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good. This looks to be an interesting flag set, if nothing else. Not one I'm usually as familiar with, but it'll be fun to see how it plays out.
Yeah, in a typical Worlds Collide seed, you'll expect to find espers and characters. The general, kind of the standard, quote-unquote, standard flag set is find 6 characters and 9 espers. This is espers only, which means characters are, obviously you want enough characters to fill out your party, and you want, powerful characters that can take you through the rest of the game, but really the name of the game in this seed are espers. Find those 10 espers, and if you can, along the way, take out some of these bosses, and you should be in good position. And we will be getting started in just a few moments here, but looking at the list of the bosses for the KT Skip, there are some spooky ones on there. Magimaster, arguably the hardest boss in the game, someone that can really shut down a party very quickly. Doomgaze, of course, with the level 5 Doom attack, will instantly kill any party member whose level is a multiple of 5. Doom, one of the statue bosses, can be very spooky, as all statue bosses can be. And then, in a show of mercy, we do have Tunnel Armor, who's pretty lol, and Umaro, who is very manageable. So it'll be interesting to see where these bosses show up and how our runners deal with them.
That's right. So I have given our runners their 30-second warning. We're actually going to start here any minute now. Or any second now. I'm actually going to go ahead and get the flag dropped, and we'll get this party started.
Yes, indeed. Excited to see it.
There's a bit of a delay, so we'll see how long it takes for it to actually get started. But a couple of interesting things about this flag set. We'll go over kind of the basics for anyone familiar with Final Fantasy VI in general. We do have the way the flag set normally works or the way the randomizer normally works, is that you have access to the airship right away, and you can go anywhere in both the World of Balance or the World of Ruin, and depending on which characters you start the game with will determine which checks are available to start with. Generally, they are related to the characters. They are in the story modes, so, for instance, the Magic Factory, if you want to go in there, will be Cella's, and similar along those lines. Now, here we go.
Off we go. We're starting with 3 characters to start. We see Terra's one of them. Terra, Gao, Celas. With Celas with the throw command, Gao with Vanilla Rage, and Terra with, I believe that was Lore. So, pretty strong party to start. Zelfer, what do you think about that?
Oh, definitely, very much so. Lore is one of those interesting ones, same with Rage, where depending with the abilities that you start with, you could end up with a very powerful character early on, or one that might
point out all characters heading to the Imperial Camp, one of Terra's checks, which is definitely the most treasure-rich area of the game, and finding some great loot to start. Experience Egg, a fantastic item, doubles experience for whoever's equipped. You can really use that to supercharge a party member. Fun to see that all the runners got that, so there's not going to be a competitive experience egg advantage. It just means that we're going to have some pretty strong parties. Also found that Atma weapon, one of the best endgame weapons. It's going to take a while for that to come online because the power of the Atma weapon scales with character level. But expect us to talk a lot more about the Atma weapon in, say an hour or so. But for now, all three of our runners are working through Terra's sealed cave check.
Now, this is an interesting one. Now, this one doesn't have a boss at the end, so it's technically considered a free check. But it is also treasure dense, so there's a lot of looting on the way to that final cave there.
Yeah, it's really not a surprise to see sealed cave being the first check when you start with Terra in the party. That's something certainly I would do. I know a lot of runners do. It is, as you said, a free check. It is a pretty treasure-rich check, and we see that already with some of the good loot our runners have stumbled upon. It'll be curious to see who they find or what they find at the end of the sealed cave. All of the character checks in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide will reward either an Esper, or a character, or a powerful item, which is also known as a dead check because it does not progress the game. In this particular flag set, we are only looking for Espers. So characters are not exactly dead checks because obviously all our runners want a fourth member of the party and want that party member to be a good one. But we're really going to be looking for Espers early, Espers often.
Here's
As the Schwantz takes on a battle and runs into a boss. Oh no! That's not what you want your first fight to be.
Definitely not. Rexel is one of those ones, while technically does have is weak to ice magic, has a very strong magic defense regardless. And you want to be careful with how you're aiming because you hit those souls on either side of them and you're going to be sitting there a week waiting for them to die and regenerate.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Hefe skipped the ninja, as did Kurgzy. Both of them find Sabin, a very welcome addition to this party. Ceiling Cat in chat pointing out, and I just double-checked this myself, all of the random encounters and fixed encounters in this seed will be bosses. This is a boss-only seed. So Schwantz knew he was going to encounter a boss when he took on the ninja. Didn't exactly know which boss it was going to be. But this is going to be a challenging seed, for sure.
Absolutely.
Will be interesting to see where Kurgzy and Hefe head to next, as Hefe runs into one of the Ultroses, as Schwantz takes a reset. Says, Rexel, not worth the bother. Faster to just reset out of there. Made it save very smartly, so didn't waste too much time, and should be just a little bit behind the rest of our runners, as we see Kurgzy is in Albrook right now, doing some early game looting.
That's right, and now we find that Ultros is a random encounter too.
I think interesting play. It could be a smart play by Hefe and some of these runners. If all battles are bosses, you just want to find those bosses that are easy to take on early and can give you a little experience boost to kind of get you going. Kurgzy finding an ice shield in a clock in Elbrook. All of the elemental shields, very powerful items, always something you want to find.
Absolutely, that's going to teach whatever characters it's equipped to, Ice 2 at a ×5 rate. Will make them absorb ice damage, and in a pinch can be broken for an Ice 3 spell at the highest possible damage roll for that character.
Yes, indeed. Elemental shields, extremely powerful items. Always love to find those. Elemental immunity in general is so powerful in Final Fantasy VI that once you can sort of do your checklist of saying, okay, I can deal with ice, I can deal with fire, I can deal with lightning. Once you get some elemental shields, some powerful armors under your belt, things really start to open up, especially in a seed like this that's going to be a bunch of tough bosses.
Alright, and with that, looks like Kirsky is going with one of Sabin's checks. Again, this is another free check, technically. This is Collapsing House. You're going to see early on what this is going to provide. It can be either a character, Esper, or an item, and we'll see who it is holding up that house. It's a ghost, so it's not going to be a character, but it can still be an Esper or a powerful item here.
Yes, indeed, and we will find out soon enough. There are also 2 trapped chests, 2 monsters in a box in the Collapsing House. Be interesting to see if Kirksey takes those on, looking for most likely Katana Soul and the oh-so-powerful Offering item. Offering Relic.
That's right.
But no, looks like he's skipping.
Yes, it does. Offering being a powerful item for the Atma weapon in particular, typically reduces your damage by half for the weapon you're swinging, but with the Atma, who does most of its damage calculation after that, and ignores defense, it can be a very powerful tool.
Yes, indeed. As Kirksey is now out of the Collapsing House, which has collapsed, and we get to see what this ghost is holding, as Schwantz and Hefe both working through South Figaro. Very popular early game check, also a very treasure-rich location, and a place that I think almost every runner makes their way to before too long. And it is indeed a piece of magicite. So Kirksey finds the first Esper of this seed, and it is none other than Terra's daddy, Madeline.
That's right. Now, something else to keep in mind is that the items that are attached, or the abilities and potential bonuses that are attached to these Espers, are also randomized. So Madeline could have just level 1 Cure, or he could have Flare. And anything in between. So when we get a chance, we'll get to see what's on there.
Yes, indeed. Kirksey also finding a very good shop for his Celis thrower, finding a bunch of bolt skeins, fire skeins, or bolt edges and fire skeins, technically. Obviously going to grab stacks of both of those to get his throw Celis online.
Absolutely. Through, for the most part, working off your, I believe that's off the magic stat. And so Celis naturally has a decent starting magic and can only go higher, so that can be some very good damage later on. Even early in the, to be honest. All our characters are here in South Figaro, getting their all of their loot.
Yes, indeed. As Hefe down in the basement now, Schwantz already there, and we find our 5th character, and it is Gogo the Mimic. Gogo is the best mime in the game. Got to give them that, but not much to say otherwise. I don't think we're going to see Gogo replacing any of the party members we have right now. But Gogo, of course, does open up Gogo's cave. Oh, Schwantz doesn't even thought about it. Does end up adding Gogo to the party, perhaps remembering that with the throw command, any character can be good. Hefe, meanwhile, picking up a hero ring, also in the basement, so some pretty decent loot early on here.
Absolutely. Now, Gogo, like you were saying, anyone can use just about any permanent ability that any other character has. So, throws on the list, lore's on the list, as well as any magic that is that the party knows. Gogo also knows if you equip that magic command on him. So, there are definitely options there. And with the hero ring, you also that kind of acts as both a vigor boost and a magic power boost, so there's options using that as well.
Absolutely. Kirksey finding another good shot for throwables. I believe he has all 3 flavors of magic throwables, the bolt edges, water edges, and fire skeins. But I'm not sure if our other 2 runners do. Meanwhile, Schwantz taking on a random encounter. This is important distinction to be made between random encounters and fixed encounters in this game. Fixed encounters are ones that you cannot avoid. They're there for plot reasons, or they're traps, what have you. all fixed encounters will be bosses in this seed, but that is not true for all random encounters. As we see now, Schwantz taking on a Rygos, not a boss. Takes it down, going to earn a decent chunk of experience for that. Not a bad idea to get some early levels under your belt, already up to level 11 with most of those party members.
That's right. Now you've got Hefe over talking to the Zen Thief, buying an Esper for a low price of about 3,700 gold pieces there. So that's going to get him that's going to get his first Esper, I believe.
Yep.
And it was Torado.
The Torado Esper had Mute and Bio, 2 decent spells, along with 2 other spells that won't see as much use. Kirgzy also adding Gogo to their party. So we will see some mimery shenanigans in this seed.
Now it looks like Hefe is heading into Narsh. There's a couple checks here. Some of them actually are not even gated behind a character, but one of them is Terra's. It is the Welk check, and again, we're going to see pretty early, or pretty soon, after they do their shopping here and looting, whether or not that's going to be a character, Esper, or item.
Yes, indeed. But before that, Hefe's going to pop into the storehouse, crack open some of these treasure chests. Again, early on in a Worlds Collide seed, you really want 2 sets of Genji armor in 1 storehouse. Not bad. I was going to say, you really want to find some high-level gear, which is exactly what Hefe did, to help get your party going, as Schwantz is actually heading to the World of Ruin South Figaro to sort of double dip on the South Figaro overworld chests, and does find a Minerva, another fantastic piece of armor. So very generous seed so far. Runners are definitely putting the pieces together to have a powerful party, and it looks like Kirgzy is about to get inhaled by a Zone Eater.
Right, this is the now you'll see Kirgzy has gone down to 1 character in the party just to speed this process up. Zone Eater has to eat everyone. If there's only 1, that goes a lot faster. This is Gogo's only check, and is home to the infamous conductors, who, or bridge trolls, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, oh, what a check it is. Gogo only has 1 check, but they really make the most of it, as Hefe finds Locke in Terra's Welk Cave check, and finds Kefka at Narsh. Little taste of French vanilla for you. As we watch, let's see how Kirgzy navigates these bridges. Want to avoid those bridge trolls and not get knocked down.
Definitely got to respect the trolls. And it looks like he got through clean.
Yeah, very, very smooth. Now all he has to do is not get crushed by the insta-game over falling ceiling of the next room. As Hefe takes out Kefka and Narsh. I like that Hefe's Sabin is doing a total Mog cosplay, wearing the Moogle suit and using the dance command.
Absolutely, gotta love it. I don't even think we checked to see what Locke had. He just grabbed him and go.
Yeah, and looks like Hefe not heading all the way up the cliffs of Narsh to take on the Kefka at Narsh battle. Just happy with that Terra check, and will move along somewhere else. Meanwhile, Kirgzy is approaching the end of Gogo's cave. We will find out what the Zone Eater's belly contains. It's another character. It is Cyan.
So, we're already at 6 characters. Typically, this is a good problem to have early on in a normal flag set, because like you were saying earlier, you need 6 characters and 9 Espers. Well, we've got our 6 characters, but Kirgzy only has 1 Esper.
Yeah, no kidding. If this were a, quote-unquote standard flag set, we'd be calling this a jet seed already with all these characters. But, of course, that's not the name of the game tonight. We are exclusively looking for Esper. And now, keep in mind, the more characters we have, the more checks are open to us, the more potential Espers we can find, but it's not progressing the game. Meanwhile, Schwantz has jumped into a waterfall, taking on Niles and Fraser Crane, the Crane brothers, as Hefe is in, I believe, Figaro Cave, taking on Ultros.
That's right. And then you've got Kirsky is in the Velt doing Gauss check. I'm going to assume he found that dried meat. And it's interesting to see how much these runs diverged.
That's very true. One of the things I really love about Worlds Collide is the potential for divergence, especially when you have all of these characters early on available to you, as Hefe finds a pretty nice Esper in Figaro Cave. Looks like Bolt 3 is one of the options there. But as I was saying, yeah, all these characters unlock so much more of the game, so all our 3 runners are basically going in 3 different directions. Be interesting to see how this plays out, and who is rewarded for their pathing.
Meanwhile, looks like Schwantz just found his first Esper in Kieran at the bottom of Barren Falls. And Kirsky is going to find not a character, so this could be an item or an Esper here. And it is Ramu.
Alright, so another Esper under the belt as Hefe heads into the Magitech Factory, one of my favorite areas of the game. Has some banging music, has some pretty easy chests to find, has some fun conveyor belts to ride, and has 2, potentially 3 checks within it. We'll see how deep into the factory Hefe decides to go.
That's right. You've got Schwantz here is now looking at his first Gao check. Getting it on his first try, it looks like, and he's parked right outside the Serpent Cave, or the Serpent Pass, so it looks like that's where he's going to be heading next.
Yeah, also a great showcase of the power of throw. Celis tossing 1 bolt edge, ending that fight immediately. As we find, oh my goodness, it's Vanilla Ifrit down in the Ifrit Cave.
Wow, is this randomizer even randomized?
Is this even randomized? Has to be asked. Meanwhile, Terra pulling out Quasar, one of my favorite spells in the game. It is non-elemental, does a grip of damage, as we see Ifrit is already down. Now, one of the fun wrinkles of this flag set, in addition to all the other unusualness, is that I mentioned Glass Cannon earlier. All of these bosses are going to level up 4 times faster than you might expect, but their HP only scales by 1. So the bosses hit hard, but don't take a big beating, and I guess you could say the same for our party right now, but so far none of our runners having any trouble, all of them cutting through this seed very quickly, very cleanly.
That's right. Now you've got, looks like Schwantz is jumping into the Serpent Trench. As
now these are fixed encounters, so this is a gauntlet of boss fights, basically.
That's right, but them being bosses means there is definitely going to be a wealth of experience to be gained here. Oh, and there's Magimaster. There is one of our bosses for the Kefka skip. Unfortunately, though, I don't know. Yep, he's resetting right out. Not ready for that one yet.
Immediately backs out of that one. Not surprised. Magimaster is such a brutal boss. Meanwhile, Hefe taking on Tritok in the second Magitech Factory location. Tritok has extremely high defense to everything except fire. Or, of course, attacks that ignore defense, of which there are several, Quasar being one of them. Sabin doing a cool 3,000 damage with a dance move. Takes down Tritok, and that is another check done for Hefe. Schwantz heading back into the trench, undeterred, hoping for basically anyone but the Magimaster he just found.
That's right, Magimaster can be a mean one, especially when most of your damage, as it looks like Schwantz's is elemental, and there he is again. Is he going to try for it, or we're going to see. Meanwhile, Kirsky is in the Doma Siege, fighting Doomgaze. That's another one of our skip bosses.
Ooh, very nice. Let's see if his party is a multiple of level 5. No, he dodges the level 5 Doom, and now just has the very lengthy Doomgaze fight ahead of him, though of course will be made much faster with those fire schemes, Doomgaze also being weak to fire. And Hefe about to take a Indiana Jones Minecart Thrill Ride. Get to show off the Super Nintendo Entertainment System's Mode 7 graphics as we ride down a exciting minecart adventure, which will also be fixed encounters, which means they will also be bosses. So, who knows? It could even be Magimaster.
Kierski resetting out of that Doomgaze fight.
Oof. Oh, and it is Magimaster.
And it is Magimaster.
Wow.
I think we need to
So
rename
we
the
have
flag
dual
set.
Magimasters on screen. Schwantz takes his down. GG to Schwantz. Way to go.
Now that is only the
meanwhile,
first fight.
Hefe... What's that?
That is only the first fight. We could see him again.
The whole Serpent Trench could be Magimasters. You never know. But that's one down for Schwantz. Must be feeling good about that. Hefe is in a pickle right now. Yeah, it's going to have to reset there. As Kirksey is heading into another Cyan check. Looks like he's heading into Doma Castle to dive into Cyan's Dream, which is a very lengthy series of checks. Schwantz now finding Flame Eater, a much easier task than that Magimaster.
And finding Doomgaze on the tracks as well.
Wow, so yeah, another one of those bosses you don't really want to find. Does dodge the level 5 Doom, so we'll see if he can take care of the rest of this.
Schwantz taking his Flame Eater down.
There are what, four or five encounters in the Serpent Trench?
Something like that. I know a lot of it depends on the route you take through the trench.
Right. Well, I suppose, yes. Taking what's generally considered to be the optimal route, I think. I think there are 4, maybe 5. But, yes, Schwantz is around halfway there. Hefe does take down Doomgaze. So, well done with that. As Kirksey is exploring the mind of Cyan, he is deep in Cyan's dream.
That's right, we're going to see what that boss is here very soon. Schwantz back, going down the trench here. Hefe finds Ultros on his minecart ride.
An Ultros who immediately runs away.
And another Magimaster.
Oh, Schwantz. What a brutal trench. I mean, he did it once. He can definitely do it again.
And here goes Kierske fighting Dullahan. Contrary to popular belief that he is wrapped up in fire, he is actually weak to it and absorbs ice.
That is true, though, like many undead enemies, or undead-looking enemies, Dullahan is not weak to Pearl.
He will absorb that too, and even throw it at you.
Yes, indeed.
Now, something to keep in mind with this flag set is that there is a no undead flag that is set to true, not necessarily relating to this boss, but any boss that would typically be considered undead, that can be the second part of Senor Behemoth. They can't be. You can't just throw a Phoenix down at them and end the fight. However, the boss or the weaknesses of that, because they were they were undead, they didn't put a check to make sure that you couldn't cast instant death spells on them. So that is an option for some of these as well.
That is true, as Schwantz took down a second Magimaster, now takes down Magimaster's little brother, number 24. No problem, as Kirksey finds, looks like Edgar, King of Figaro, is hanging out in Cyan's dream. So we'll be picking up yet another character. As Hefe continues his minecart ride, Schwantz finds merely a Thunder Shield for his troubles. That is what we call a dead check, and considering what Schwantz had to go through, it's a tough one. Certainly not a bad item to have, but obviously he was hoping for an Esper. I'll tell you what Hefe was not hoping for is Umaro the Yeti, which is what he finds at the end of the Magitech Factory minecart ride. That is yet another character, assuming he can take on number 128, which I think he can.
That's right. Now, I didn't see if he bought them or not, but the Schwantz did find a dragon horn in the shop here at the end of Serpent's Trench. That has that's actually a nice one to find, as he also found the dragon boots earlier, and with the Atma, that's basically like a budget offering there. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that going.
I mean, I love seeing a Dragoon build. I love the jump command. I think it can be extremely powerful, can be extremely defensively strong as well. Keep in mind, you can't be hit if you're not on screen. So we'll see if Schwantz makes use of that, as Hefe does take down number 128. Will move on to his next check, as Kirksey is soon to take on, I believe, the final boss of Cyan's Dream. Meanwhile, Hefe is going to hop in a waterfall, as Schwantz looks like is working his way up Mount Colts for another one of Sabin's checks. As Kirksey approaches the boss of Cyan's Dream, the one who has been tormenting our poor Cyan, it is Chatternook. Another one of those sort of annoying bosses. Zelfer, how do you feel about Chatternook?
It's a patience check. you gotta wait for, because you can beat up on the I think her name is Goddess, or no, what is it? Girl, I can't remember. As much as you want. And it won't do you a lick of good. You gotta wait for the transformation and then take out all your damage on the demon here. But that can take, depending on how nice it can, the game wants to be, you could be waiting a long time for that opportunity.
Yes, indeed. Though Chatternook is down, Kirksey shows no mercy to that possessed painting. Meanwhile, Hefe takes down the Crane Brothers, and Schwantz finds that great 1950s swing band Haydn and the Haydnites has a party of poisoned people. We'll see how he does with this. As Kirksey finding Edgar, who has the Shock command, which is a very spicy command, not available in the vanilla game.
That's right. You usually only see Shock with General Leo. But not only that, but he also has all 8 sword techs unlocked. So if he finds a character with sword tech, that's going to be pretty powerful as well. But Shock doing AoE damage at no cost. It does do have a split damage. And then he finds Fenrir on the throne. Why do we like seeing Fenrir so much?
We like Fenrir because we don't like Tier 3 of the final boss battle. The final battle itself is a 4-tier mega battle, if you will, and the 3rd tier always ends with an attack called Calmness, which is a physical attack that will instantly kill you. Which is why we love finding espers like Fenrir, which cast the image status, which means you auto-evade physical attacks. So you don't die to Calmness right before fighting Kefka and finishing the seed. Fenrir is an excellent find, and we're hoping all our runners find some sort of Calmness protection before making it to the final battle itself. Meanwhile, Hefe is fighting a flying Yeti, making good use of that oh-so-cool-looking Quasar spell.
And down goes the Yeti. And that is another Kefka tower skip boss.
That is true, yeah. Important to keep track of is 3 of those 5 bosses we listed earlier. Magimaster, Doomgaze, Umaro, Tunnel Armor, and Doom. We have seen 3 of those 5 already. Not necessarily on one player's screen. Hefe finding another experience egg. So that was just the random Doomgaze encounter.
Yes, it was.
Wow, so that is not something you are guaranteed to find, certainly not something our other runners will be looking for, so it'll be interesting to see if that second experience egg can help Hefe sort of compound his experience advantage to level up, as it looks like Hefe's heading to the collapsing house, as Schwantz heading into another, in my opinion, very fun area of the game, Zozo, to do another one of Terra's checks.
Best music in the game, in my opinion, and we get a boss at the top, some checks, and a potential character, Esper, or item.
It does have some great music. I mean, music in Final Fantasy VI is all-time good. Everybody knows that. It's hard to pick your favorite song, but Zozo definitely one of them.
Right, and where is... Oh, looks like Kirsky is going to the Magitech factory. He's going to run into his minecart gauntlet.
Hefe running into Gigantos, who is an extremely experience-rich enemy. Someone if you can survive the very annoying throat jabs and all the physical attacks, ouch, as down goes Gao, if you can survive, the experience rewards are massive. So, sort of a high-risk, high-reward sort of encounter. As the Schwantz runs into Senor Behemoth. Hola, Senor.
Right, so it'll be interesting to see what's behind him. So we're going to go... we got that Procast early. Again, this is a two-part fight. You fight the living form first, who is weak to fire. And then behind that, he turns into a zombie and becomes weak to ice for some reason.
I was watching a stream the other day, and someone said something that made so much sense, that the SR in Behemoth stands for Super Behemoth.
And I'm sure that's canon, but I've been calling him Senior Behemoth, or Senor Behemoth, since I was, like, 10, so...
Yeah, exactly. Some things are canon, but some things are, personal canon. And he will always be Senor to me. Schwantz finding another piece of magicite, so up to... Is that just his second or third?
I'd have to go, take a look, now that I'm thinking about it. No, I think that's... Alright, tracking says it's 3. By the way, shoutouts to our tracker in the background here, making all of this easy to follow along with Ceiling Cat.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Ceiling Cat, our tremendous tracker, doing the hard work to make this happen. As Kirksey falls down into the pit of Magitech Factory, as we know, we'll take on Vanilla Ifrit. Hefe about to find the Madeline Esper. So Hefe, with 6 Espers, is more than halfway there. So making a lot of progress as we are just over half an hour into this seed.
Looks like the Schwantz is heading into Narsh. Now he's going to find Locke in his Welch check, but we'll also get to see if maybe he goes up to fight Kefka.
Another thing to point out, just in terms of gearing and elemental defense, I saw Ifrit cast some fire magic at Kirksey's party. Only one of Kirksey's 4 party members takes damage from fire. So is very well equipped, as we mentioned earlier, has found some very strong gear early on. And I imagine all of our runners are going to be doing very good work against most bosses for the rest of this seed. Sort of the give and take of the glass cannon system is that if you can break that glass, it doesn't matter how big a cannon they are.
Absolutely. Now, it'll be interesting to see, because something I've noticed is we haven't run into any of our statue bosses or Guardian, any of the scary bosses that you really don't want to wait till the end of the game to find.
That is very true. Even Doomgaze and Magimaster were just fixed encounters, so the actual boss encounters are still out there somewhere. And in terms of actual bosses we've seen, yeah, it's been some Ultros, some Tribe Talk, as we see on Kirksey's screen. Some real bosses, but not the end game, run destroyers that you can run into sometimes. Does Kurgzy choose to go on to the third Magitech factory check is the question. We know it to be Umaro the Yeti, but of course Kurgzy does not. As it looks like Hefe is heading back up the cliffs of Narsh. This, I believe, is in ruined Narsh, so perhaps this is the Umaro check.
We've got.
We will see shortly.
Meantime, we've got the Schwantz doing some party lineup. Got Locke in the party quick as soon as he got out of there.
Well, he has that experience egg, and I don't know if he has it, but I saw Kurgzy found a Valiant Knife in Cyan's Dream. Valiant Knife, another fantastic endgame weapon. Pair that with the Offering Relic, which of course we have still not found, and you have a incredibly destructive endgame build. So perhaps Schwantz is hoping to stumble upon that as Kurgzy takes on the cranes in the waterfall, and Hefe takes on our first dragon of the seed, the Gold Durgan. Dragons are endgame optional bosses. They are, of course, not required in the vanilla game. They are not required in this particular flag set either, though sometimes dragons are required. But they do all reward a fat chunk of experience and an endgame top-tier item, so can often be worth your time, especially when you have a party as strong as this, with Terra throwing out Quasar, Celas doing over 5k with Throw Command, Schwantz taking a quick reset.
Didn't see what happened there. I wonder why.
I was busy focused on the Gold Durgan, to be honest. But we also see Kurgzy is picking up the Kirin Magicite at the bottom of the waterfall. Schwantz, meanwhile, is doing Locke's check, which is very smart because it will reward either an Esper or an item. It will never reward a character. So another chunk of Magicite for Schwantz.
Another nice benefit to that one is that because he's already cleared the Welk check, the other item there, which I think I saw was a Minerva, will be available on the platform where Tritalk starts in the World of Balance. So it might be worth it to switch over and grab that.
Absolutely. Schwantz also finds that the Curse Shield is only cursed to 5, or whatever the syntax of that is. It only takes 5 battles to uncurse the Cursed Shield in this seed. So that is very tempting to turn the Cursed Shield into the Paladin Shield, which is, I think, by far the best defensive item in the game.
Absolutely. Absorbs just about everything and help with a high block against everything else. Looks like...
Kurgzy, meanwhile, taking on Doomgaze again. I believe noped out of this check last time, so Kurgzy back for some revenge here at Doma Castle. And we again see those elemental immunities showing just why they're so strong.
FA taking on his Tritalk fight, which is Rexol for real this time. As the Schwantz will also find out. Down goes Doomgaze.
Well, that is good news for Kurgzy, taking one of the not required bosses, but very helpful bosses. If you can activate that KT skip, as we call it, and skip right to the end of Kefka's Tower, it can save you, I don't know the exact amount of time, but a significant chunk of time.
It's something like a 5 or 6 minute walk, something like that. Plus the extra boss before it in the Inferno spot.
Right, yeah, 5 minutes, not even including the boss fight. So yeah, it can be a huge advantage, as looks like Hefe is down in Umaro's cave. Schwantz is right behind him. And as we know, because we saw World of Balance Narsh, this will not be a character at the end of Amaro's Cave, so hopefully will be a piece of magicite in this skull. Indeed it is. We find the Starlit Esper in Amaro's Cave, as long as we could take on whatever boss fight is facing us. And by us, I of course mean Hefe.
It is tunnel armor, so it looks like for once Hefe's getting a bit of a break here, not fighting a wall like he's been running into.
That is true, and another one of those bosses for the KT skip. This is the first tunnel armor we've seen. And
right.
Man, does bolt damage do a lot to tunnel armor. Down it goes. That is a nice find for Hefe.
And while Hefe's taking down the tunnel armor, the Schwantz is in the Balance Figaro Cave, the tunnel armor's normal spot, so we're going to see what's here. And it is Ultros.
Indeed it is. I believe Hefe was here earlier, so we know this to be an Esper, I think.
I want to say this is Ultros 3, and he's gone. Didn't even blink. Finds that Ragnarok Esper, and away he goes.
Yes, indeed. As Hefe now has his 8th Esper. So, getting very close to the required 10. Important to point out, for anyone confused about the whole KT skip thing, the 5 optional bosses to get the KT skip are in addition to the required 10 Espers. No matter what you do, you still need those 10 Espers.
It is entirely possible to forget an objective, run into or get your tower skip, run all the way to the end, only to get bumped off the platform and have to take the walk of shame back to figure out what you missed.
Oof, brutal. You only make that mistake once, but when you do, it's tough. Meanwhile, Kurgzy working through Kefka and Narsh, who is not at the exact Kefka and Narsh location, but pretty close. Hefe checking Ruined Mobliz, which is one of those checks you can peek to see what the reward is. The little girl says, "Please don't take our fixed dice away." I don't know what a group of kids needs with cheating dice, but Hefe says, "Fine, you can keep your fixed dice because it's not an Esper. I'm moving on somewhere else."
Fixed dice is another one of those interesting ones. Though I have had it turned against me once, and it didn't go well.
I mean, fixed dice are great weapons, but I think with the tools that Hefe and all our runners already have, it's not worth fighting, you know, a boss and a half just to pick up an item.
That's right. Now, it looks like Hefe dropped his party down to 3, so I think he's going to go get his Gao character check here.
That makes sense. Meanwhile, Schwantz will pick up his 7th Esper. Kurgzy doing a bit more grinding, trying to get those levels up. Kurgzy the only one who's keeping Edgar in the party. Edgar with the very powerful shock command. It is not the highest single damage attack, though it is extremely useful. And not particularly surprised to see Kurgzy keeping a shock fighter in the party. But always fun to see, again, a little bit of divergence with how these runners form their parties and kind of craft their strategies organically as the race develops.
That's right. So many different varying paths, different options, different orders. You have Schwantz is just now, like you said, wrapping up the collapsed house where we saw Kurgzy go first. So, yeah, it's one of the reasons why I love this community so much is just the amount of variance in each individual run.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Hefe is in Jadur, doing a bit of selling. Perhaps Hefe is only 1 Esper away from those required 10, so perhaps is hoping for the auction house to bail him out to throw money at the problem and make it go away. Meanwhile, Schwantz is heading to the Phantom Train, which is another one of those checks that you get to peek beforehand. It is an Esper, and I think Schwantz...
the Merton, no less.
Oh. Yeah, Merton, Ice 3, Magic +1. That is an Esper worth taking. I think we're going to see Schwantz work his way through this train.
Absolutely. Especially with the amount of elemental damage elemental damage resistance that we found in this seed so far.
Yeah, oh my god, Schwantz getting trolled so hard by the ghosts. Finally makes it through one of the cars. And Hefe, very luckily, finds a piece of Magicite already. We'll definitely be bidding on that, and that will be Hefe's 10th.
Got that first try Esper there. That's that other Zulfur luck, not to be confused with me.
I was gonna say, back in my day, we used to call that Zulfur luck. But that is huge for Hefe. Now has the required 10 Espers, and can basically take on the end game at his leisure. When is he ready to go? When is he happy with his party's character levels, with his gear? When is he ready to wrap up this seed? He is in, I have to say, a pretty convincing lead at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Hefe with 10, Schwantz and Kirksey both at 8 Espers.
Meanwhile, you've got Kierske making the climb through the Mount Colt, while the Schwantz is coming up on the end of the Phantom train here.
Phantom Train, another one of the places that I love from Vanilla. Hefe also has the skip. He took down Doomgaze, he took down a Magimaster, he took down a Tunnel Armor. So he is just heading straight to the end of Kefka's Tower. And he says, yeah, no more putzing about. Time to get this done. And he is jumping into Kefka's Tower at 48 minutes flat. That is a huge time. What a time that is, especially to go through the skip.
That is...
So this seed could be over very quickly. Ooh, meanwhile...
Oh no! Spicy chicken's in the chat if you got him. But,
who ordered the spicy chicken?
And we're fairly late in the scaling, so this is going to be a potentially scary fight. Now it looks like we've got all that absorption on there, so Merton isn't as scary as it could be.
Yeah, that's still tough. You know, all these statue bosses are scary. Meanwhile, Hefe's first boss in KT is the Ghost Train. Slightly less, I guess, sort of swap their places, really. Poltergeist should be where the train is. The train should be where Poltergeist is. But as it is, Hefe is through his boss, and Schwantz has a fairly difficult fight before him.
There's the Guardian check down. Unfortunately, no Blitz users that we found this one, so we won't get to see a train get suplexed.
Too bad. Of course, Terra with that Quasar's been doing work all seed, doing 6,700 damage, and that is enough to take down the spicy chicken, turn him into McNuggets, and that is another Esper for Schwantz.
Oh, that wasn't the Guardian fight, that was the first statue. My mistake.
That's okay. Meanwhile, Kirksey looks like is following Edgar's path and heading down to World of Ruin Figaro Castle, which is another example of divergence, as Hefe takes on, as you mentioned, the Guardian battle, which is another statue. Oh my goddess, it's the goddess.
3 feet away from where she's normally supposed to be, but whatever, we'll let her wander.
Yeah, she can do what she wants. She is a very powerful boss, can be very scary. Hefe showing off some rage knowledge, knowing exactly what to pick. Goddess is absorbs Bolt, absorbs Pearl, has a ton of magic defense, has slightly less physical defense, but if you use the fight command against her, she will charm your party member and make them fight each other. So can be a very difficult battle.
Alright, and we're at the Danger Noodle fight location. This Fun Baba.
Yes, indeed. Kirksey finding Fun Baba.
Hefe resetting out of
Hefe
that
taking
goddess.
a restart. Yikes. Goddess too much for his party. Luckily, he does have that skip. Well, no, he doesn't have the skip. He's already done the skip, so he's going to have to reconfigure his equipment somehow to deal with this endgame Goddess battle.
Looking at chat, looks like we were getting some not so fun rages, or not so useful rage attacks out of that, so that might have been why we reset.
Yeah, I didn't get a full look at the rage list, but I didn't see any of the top tier ones. You know, didn't see a stray cat, a retainer, Woolly.
Instead, we fight Magimaster, and down goes Gogo.
Man, how many times has Magimaster showed up in this scene, and he is just a jerk every time. with just Celis. Luckily, Celis with the throw command can get it done if she can survive, which she can.
Doesn't look like she can. Doesn't look like she can.
That is a brutal tower gauntlet at the end, which is, as a viewer, I must admit, is pretty exciting to see because Goddess and Magimaster in the tower are two very, very challenging enemies.
Absolutely. And that just goes to show you, just because Hefe hit the tower first, you get walled out like this, it gives ample opportunity for the other runners to catch up, so this really could still go anyway.
That is very true, very true. Meanwhile, Schwantz just needs to find that last Esper. Did uncurse the Curse Shield, so does have the Paladin Shield. Kirksey is deep underground, heading towards the ancient castle. May perhaps crack open some Monster in a Box chests to hopefully find an offering, which indeed Kirksey does, with the Katana Soul.
That's going to wake up. I don't think I actually saw anyone grab or anyone start using that Atmo weapon, but that could change here.
Yes, indeed. Though I am riveted by Hefe's Magimaster fight, seeing how he does with this. No Berserk, so no way to really mitigate the damage. It's just going to be, I think, how many shurikens can Celes throw before she dies?
Looks like that many.
Not many. Oh boy. Well, Zelfer, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can only use the KT skip once. So if Hefe wanted to, fall back and reconfigure his party, he would have to go through the entire Kefka's Tower.
That is correct. If he warps out of here to rebuild, then yeah, he has to do the whole walk and the Inferno spot as well.
Effectively losing all of the advantage that the KT skip grants him. Meanwhile, Schwantz is up to 10 Espers now. Hefe trying his luck with Goddess instead. And I will admit, I am not a rage master, but I know a few rages, and I'm not seeing any of the good ones in here for Hefe.
I know Stray Cat. That's all I know.
Well, Great Behemoth has Meteor, which is, non-elemental damage, so that helps.
And Kursky finding fixed dice at the bottom of the ancient castle. Useful item, but when you're one Esper away, it's not what you want to see.
That's a tough dead check.
He also, however, did find that offering on the way down too, I believe. So
he did find the offering, so yeah, he's going to walk that out. And I know Kirksey has the Valiant Knife, has the Atmo weapon, and now has fixed dice, so has 3 very powerful offering weapons. We'll see if he can turn that into an advantage going into the late game, as Schwantz is now in Kefka's Tower, is going to have to take the long way. But it's really a question of what our runners do when confronted with these very difficult bosses here in the boss gauntlet right at the end of KT. As Goddess pulls out a casual Grand Train. Jeez, that's a reset.
Goddess is being mean over here.
And I think this is the part of the seed where, the bosses are designed to be glass cannons, but at this point, with all of the scaling and all the advancement, it's some pretty tough glass that our runners are up against.
And here at the Inferno spot, it looks like it's going to be the Three Stooges, Larry, Curly, and Mo here.
Schwanz, going for a cheeky X-Death against the blue guy who is susceptible to instant death. Hefe just sort of bouncing back and forth between these two really difficult boss fights, trying to take on Magimaster again. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's really just a matter of, can Celis stay up long enough to throw enough shurikens to get this done?
That's right. Now we're hoping. I did see some fire absorption there, so Hefe's got to be hoping for that fire damage to come out. Keep Celis in the fight here. There we go. So that's something else that they can take here.
All right. Yeah.
And down he goes.
And down he goes.
Right.
All right, GG to Hefe, taking down Magimaster on, what was that, the third attempt. That was a tough one. Meanwhile, Schwantz running into Doom out of nowhere.
Schwantz taking the toilet Atma fight here and immediately getting frozen and resetting out.
And yeah, Hefe is deciding to pull out. He took down 2 out of the 3 paths, so really just wants to load up his best team onto that middle path, take on the Goddess, take on whatever boss is after that. But the other 2 paths are clear, so as we see, really just kind of throwing whoever's left into those other ones. Meanwhile, Schwantz went back to Doom. Does have the very powerful throw Celis. Sorry, what was that?
I'm wondering why he chose to take this fight. This is one you typically see runners just kind of skip over.
It's possible he's, hoping for the offering. It's possible that he's hoping for the experience. It's also possible that Doom is the 3rd boss that he needs to unlock the skip himself. And in fact, he did just unlock the KT skip.
All right.
So that's helpful because that allows Schwantz to do basically the opposite of what Hefe is doing right now. Hefe has to slog his way back through KT the long way because he could only skip once. Schwantz was already in there the long way and is now backed out and is now making use of the skip. So some smart gamesmanship from the Schwantz.
So, meanwhile, Hefe fighting his Three Stooges there at the Inferno spot.
Yes, indeed.
And this really could go any way. We're all in the tower. We're all coming up on the switches here. And then, of course, you've got the final Kefka climb itself, in where actually anything could happen.
That is very true, and that is not an exaggeration. I have seen so many runs won and lost in that final battle. As, wow, Ghost Train just downed Sabin with an 8,000 damage wheel. Talk
One
about
too many
glass cannon bosses.
One too many suplexes in the past, I think.
Yeah, Ghost Train was out for revenge. But yeah, Kirksey now taking on the Three Stooges fight. As Hefe is making his long walk back to where he was before. Schwantz does have to take a reset to Ghost Train. These glass cannon bosses are really making their might felt here at the end. They say, you want a glass cannon? Cool, here's 8,000 damage from Ghost Train. Schwantz now looks like using the skip. Getting to reconfigure his party. Of course, Schwantz doesn't know just how rude the bosses in this boss gauntlet are, but he will find out soon enough as Hefe still making his way through KT. You quickly realize why the KT skip is so useful when you realize that all of this walking Hefe is doing.
Now,
it's physically just such a large dungeon, the final dungeon.
Yes, it is. Now, something to keep in mind, while these glass cannon bosses, their max scaling level here in this particular flag set is 70. So what you're looking at is something in the neighborhood of a level 70 Ghost Train.
Yikes. Well, Schwantz gets it done, though, with some applications of Merton. So that is one of the statue spots down. But little does Schwantz know, that's actually the easiest fight he has in store for him.
Meanwhile, Hefe is just getting back to the switches now.
Yep, Hefe and Kirksey are in the same situation right now, moving the weights, getting those switches done. Of course, Hefe does have 2 out of the 3 paths cleared. Just has to take down that goddess, whereas Kirksey is yet to find out what is in store for them.
And Schwantz is going to learn right now.
Let's see how this goes. Well, he has Atma Weapon Lock and Quasar Terra. That's a pretty good setup for Goddess. He really just has to hope that...
and blink and you miss it, the fight is over.
Well, so much for Goddess. Yeah, that was very well executed by the Schwantz, and
now we get to see what's behind Goddess.
Dare I say that may put him in the lead, or at least so close that it's impossible to tell. This could be a very, very exciting finish.
And it is Inferno. Again, French Vanilla, just feet away from his
another very difficult boss. I'm not a fan of Inferno. I have lost to Inferno so many times.
Yeah, I've definitely been walled out, but Schwantz, quick work of him.
Far too good a runner for that. Schwantz knows. Apply Bolt 3 to the face, and quad 9s later, that's one dead boss.
Of course, he still hasn't seen Magimaster yet. Well, in the tower anyway. I think he's seen enough of Magimaster.
Meanwhile, Hefe is now back. This is round 3 against Goddess. Does have his full party. Is pulling out all the stops, and that is one dead Goddess. Hefe is on. Nothing between, or I guess Inferno is between him and the final battle. As Kirksey takes down Inferno as well, so it is Kirksey and the Schwantz who are very close together, about to find the rude surprise of Magimaster in the 3rd track.
Hefe fighting his Inferno now. And yeah, this just goes to show you how much things can change. You have to remember that it was 25 minutes ago that Hefe first got to Kefka's Tower with the skip. So, and now we're basically neck and neck now.
Yeah, Ceiling Cat said it in chat. This is about as rude a tower as you can design. So props to our runners for making the necessary adjustments to do what they have to do and get through it. We'll see how Schwantz does with Magic Luckily, does have Gogo with the throw command. So does have a pretty good shot at this. Meanwhile, Hefe is through. Took down Inferno, so will be the first one into the final battle. Kurgzy not too far behind. Schwantz does take down Magic. There's the power of the throw command. There's why you keep Gogo in your party and level him up. So Schwantz right at Hefe's tails. This is going to be an extremely exciting finish.
Absolutely. And Hefe first to the final switches at 106.20. Schwantz right behind him, 106.25.
Do want to give a quick shout out as we get to watch this endgame cutscene to the different palettes that we have. You may have noticed that the colors aren't quite vanilla. One of the many pieces of customization the Worlds Collide randomizer has is customizing palettes, customizing sprites. There are, I think, over 100 different sprites you can make your characters. We tend to keep them vanilla for races like this, but if you like the different color schemes, just know that there is a whole world of Final Fantasy VI customization you can do to make your party look exactly what you look like, exactly like you want it to look.
I don't know, if you want to... there's also something to be said about a party full of Moogles, so...
Well, you can do that too. Meanwhile, here we are in Tier 1, Schwantz and Hefe entering very closely together. Zelfer, what do we have to know about Tier 1?
Alright, so Tier 1 is the big physical check. Most of the damage coming out is going to be physical. You've got the long arm, that's the one closest to the screen, is vulnerable to instant death. So usually you see that one taken care of first. The head you want to take care of second. It's weak to fire damage and will death counter with Quake. So you want to get that taken care of so you avoid that. And then you've got short arm kind of tucked there behind him. He's just going to punch, but no death counters to worry about there.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Kurgzy, who is turned his Edgar into a Valiant Knife offering user, doing great damage, taking out Magimaster. But he is a bit behind because Schwantz is already up to Tier 2. Hefe right behind him, mere seconds apart. Ooh, this is going to be an exciting finish.
It really is. Now, coming into Tier 2, we have 4 parts. You have the big blue guy, that's Hit. Really unoriginal name, but that's what he does. Underneath him, you have the Tiger Head. Very, likes to mess with your party with various status effects here. You see the imp going out. In the middle there, you see the woman in red. That's Tools. She can be instant killed and will revive the dead pieces as they go if she's still up. And behind her, looking back, is Magic, who, as you just saw on Schwantz's screen, is hilariously vulnerable to mute. So you can shut him up and you ain't got to worry about him for the rest of the fight.
Yes, indeed. I personally am convinced that naming the enemies of the final battle is like the absolute last thing Square did before finishing Final Fantasy VI. So it was definitely like, 5:30 on a Friday in the office, and they were like, what do we call these things? Someone was like, I don't know, hits. Magic is magic. Tiger Head looks like Tiger. But that said, there is a very complicated system to all of it, and both of our runners that are in the battle right now, Schwantz and Hefe, know exactly what they're doing, both doing great work right now, and expect to see both of these runners out of Tier 2 in pretty short order. Both of them looking pretty safe right now, looking pretty comfortable, but as always, that can change in an instant in the final battle. One bad Meteo, one bad, honestly, train can really derail a party.
That's right, and this could flip in an instant. You got Kersey starting his climb now. Schwant's getting those, or looks like Schwant's got those Merton strats online. So that's huge AoE damage to everyone, including himself. If you've got the right equipment on, you don't have to worry about it at all.
Very true. Also, props to Hefe for using the dance command throughout the entire game. Not something you always see, but you know, I like to see some of the less lauded commands shine from time to time, and seeing dance in the end game is good stuff.
Yes, indeed. We're seeing the dispels and the quarters come out, so that is going, I believe that is going to be the death counter for magic on the Schwanz's screen here. Yep, there we go, up to tier 3. Fantastic, why don't you tell us about it?
Tier 3 is the scary tier. This is why we were talking about Fenrir about, I don't know, 40 minutes ago. Because you start preparing for tier 3 as soon as you start the seed. It is 2 enemies. It is Sleep and Lady. You take down Lady fairly quickly, at least you should, because she will auto-heal herself and Sleep. And then you take out the around 40k hit points that Sleep has, and at the very end of it, you have to prepare for the Calmness attack, which will hit either once or twice, and again is an instant kill physical attack. So what you want are espers like, for example, Fenrir, that will allow you to evade physical attacks. We also see on the Schwanz screen Locke with that Atma weapon doing quad 9s, really making great use of the experience eggs that we saw so very early in this seed. Something that actually, Zelfer, you and I were talking about early on was we hope that if there's an experience egg, everyone finds it, not just one person. And that was the case. All of our runners went straight to Imperial Camp first on, found that experience egg, have all made great use of it. And we see Schwanz using Life 3, which is their protection from the instant death physical attack of Calmness that will be coming out in fairly short order.
That's right. Hefe is also starting his tier 3. Kirsky is working his way through tier 2 right now.
Kirsky not very far behind. No, absolutely.
Here goes the Calmness.
There's the Calmness.
Down goes Gogo, and right back up he gets. We've got 2. And it's going to be on Terra, immediately standing back up. So that's going to be the Schwanz through tier 3 and on to the Mad Clown himself.
Yes, indeed. The Mad Clown. The fallen angel. The man who destroyed the world. Kefka himself. And we'll see just how glass of a cannon Kefka is. He might go down quickly. He might knock the party down quickly. But Schwanz has really just elbowed their way into the lead. Really impressive to see. Hefe right behind him, mere seconds apart. This is going to be a photo finish.
Something to keep in mind. Now, Kefka, the final boss here, is not scaled. So this is going to be the vanilla fight. What that means is Kefka has something to the tune of 64,000 health, and once he gets below a certain threshold, he'll start countering everything with Ultima. That is, of course, assuming he gets a turn.
And you can see Schwanz just pouring out the damage right now. Doing quad 9s with the Atma weapon, doing almost 8k with Quasar, which has been doing work all seed. Cella's throwing out all those high-tier weapons. Gogo there to mimic all the good stuff. Now he's taking off shields to break those shields, as he mentioned earlier, to turn him into level 3 magic attacks. Yeah, just pulling out all the stops, and why not? This is the final boss. Schwanz doesn't know how close this is, but it is so very, very close.
Here we are during the Goner cast is the time to unload, and there's the crack boom.
Crack boom! GG!
Alright, See if we can get him in here.
With an extremely impressive time of 1:15:34. My goodness. Hefe right on his heels, but first we're going to get the Schwantz in here. Schwantz, GG, excellent race. How are you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. I actually felt a little behind after losing some time early on and then doing a little bit of indecision with the Serpent Trench, but I made up that time with all of the levels I got in the Serpent Trench, so I'm pretty happy about my game plan going into it and how the seed played out.
Well, it played out very well for you. You finished, what is that? 46 seconds ahead of Hefe, who just now cracked boom to Kefka.
Very nice. Wow.
Oh yeah, so this was close.
Excellent. I'm excited to see the race back then for sure.
So I gotta ask you, man, how are you feeling going into the Serpent's Trench and immediately finding Magimaster?
I decided to nope out right away because I'm like, I don't have Berserk. I can't really deal with this right now. And I'm like, but if I am able to deal with it, right? I had Throw Go online, right? I had 2 characters basically with Throw, and I had Terra with Quasar. So I said, you know what? If I can get like a turn or 2 in, then maybe I could beat this Magimaster, and it just snowballs. And I also took note of the 5 bosses we needed to kill in order to get the skip, and I knew he was one of them, and I said, well, if I get this one out of the way early, then hopefully I don't have to see him again in the seed. Little did I know, he was waiting for me again in the Serpent Trench and again in Gefka's Tower. So that's, anytime you fight 3 Magimasters in one seed, you know it's always a good time.
There were so many Magimasters in this seed. It was fun watching you play because some of your decision-making was very apparent on screen. Like you walked away from Gogo and then thought better of it and went back. You fought Magimaster, then thought about it and went back. You wear your heart on your sleeve when you race. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, there was a little bit of indecision there, but usually when I have like a powerful ability, either Blitz or Throw, and I find Gogo, I'm drawn more towards Gogo because obviously they could equip any stat on the status menu, so that definitely helps, right? So I saw Gogo and I was like, you know what? I actually can sub Gogo in here because Throw with 2 characters is going to be great. And then I was just looking for somebody to use the Atma weapon, and I was happy that Locke came along and could use the Atma weapon. So then I subbed out Gao, and I said, well, I got this XP egg I got at the beginning of the seed. Let's throw it on Locke, and he'll be a monster towards the end of the seed. And sure enough, he was. I did also do the Curse Shield that only had 5. I looked at my inventory. I'm like, if I have a ribbon or a peace ring, I'll do it. If not, I'm not going to go bother looking around for a ribbon or a peace ring. And sure enough, there was one in my inventory. So Atma weapon plus Paladin Shield is always fun to use as well.
Absolutely. Want to give a quick shout out to Hefe and to Kirksey, both of whom finished this seed. GG, you guys were all just about 2 minutes apart. So
wow,
very tight race, very fun race to watch.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, my strategy for these type of seeds is usually take off the Moogle Charm when I'm looting the basement of South Figaro to get a random battle encounter. This one I happened to get one that gave out a ton of XP. I think I was at level 11 after one battle, so I was like, all right, that's enough. Let's go do some checks now. And I gravitated towards Esper checks, obviously, because we need Esper requirements. I did the Toilet Atma check just to see if I could get the skip. I knew I needed one more boss, and of course the boss was there. Got Troll frozen the first time, but made it through okay. And then I hit Phantom Train, and because my characters weren't back road, the wheels fell off, literally, in that fight.
Yeah, that was shocking. I've never seen Ghost Train do that much damage. But
yeah.
I guess that's why it's a glass cannon seed.
Yep. I think my final Kefka run, though, was pretty smooth. Tier 3, I was a little shaky because I had forgotten who I gave Life 3 to, and I'm like, well, I casted this 4 times. I hope it was on 4 different people.
Well, it paid off, so well done, my friend.
Yep, awesome. Well, thank you, SpeedGaming, for allowing us our weekly slot here at SpeedGaming 3. Thanks to the staff for putting on the show. Thank you, Fantastodon and Zulfer, for doing the commentary. Thank you to Ceiling Cat for doing the tracking. And thanks to my other racers out there. We can't have the show without us, but it feels good to get a W on stream. So I'm looking to move on to the next round of this tournament. It should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. GG, congrats. And shout out to Schwantz, who does so much for the Worlds Collide community and was very instrumental in making this stream happen as well. So appreciate that. I think, why don't we bring in Hefe and Kirksey to hear their thoughts.
Hello.
Hello, Hefe. Hello, Kirksey. GG on a race very well won. You were all just about 2 minutes apart. It was an extremely tight race. How are you both feeling?
I feel good.
Feel good. I mean, everybody's under 120, so that's a pretty good race to me.
It's a heck of a time.
I thought the sub-hour was coming, but yeah, that was a pipe dream.
That was just about the rudest Kefka's Tower gauntlet you can imagine.
Well, and if I had put Celis there, which I intended to do originally, it would have been fine. But I was like, no, I'm going to send these other two just because they need more levels and they have experience eggs and they should be fine. Famous last words.
Absolutely.
So after getting the skip, I had to warp out and restack.
We saw that, which is it's always a hard call, but it was probably the right call. But how were you feeling when you ran into what was it, Goddess, then Magimaster, then Inferno, then it was quite a gauntlet.
Well, the Goddess thing, I was like, I have no elemental protection at all. This isn't going to go well. They're not doing enough damage. It'll take them 10 turns, and all she has to do is hit them twice, and they're dead. Like, that's just... I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I figured if I could get through the Magimaster fight, which was 3 shurikens, I was like, if I can get through that, I can just stack the center and then it won't be an issue. So that's why I beat my head against Magimaster until I actually got 3 turns on him and killed him.
Right on. Kirksey, how did you feel about this seed?
I mean, I got in my own way a lot of times at the very beginning of it, and there was a ton of dead checks and a ton of characters, but it was still really, really not too bad. I mean, you start with throwing an experience egg, you expect the seed to go pretty well.
Absolutely not, especially with the character checks. They're typically seeing as many characters as you did early on. That's typically a good thing in a normal flag set, but with this one where all you want is espers, and to find so few of them early on, how are you feeling about it?
A little frustrated, and I never did really get enough money to go start banging the auction house because I spent so much on schemes at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Well, for luck was with me at the auction house. I walked
saw
in and
that.
got it first shot.
Also, for anyone watching, when they're talking about Zulfer luck, they are not talking about me. We actually have another Zulfer in the community who, hand to God, first time auction house every time. Anything else you guys want to mention while we got you here?
I'm good.
All right, Kirksman? Kirksey?
Nothing really, but just food for thought. If you have strength +2 on a throw character for most of the game, don't keep throwing schemes at the end whenever your shurikens are going to do AK.
Excellent point. Excellent
I had
point.
forgot about that she was sitting on strength and just I threw a flame scheme or something against Goddess, and the next turn I threw a shuriken. I was like, oh, that's right.
All right. With that, wisdom there, we'll go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much for running this. It was very entertaining to watch, very close. Like I said, all within 2 minutes, those finishes, so it was a very close race, especially at the end there, seeing just how much can change in the tower itself. FAU got there at about the 40-minute mark.
Yep. Well, I just want to thank you guys for commentating this, and Ceiling Cat in the background for tracking it, and SpeedGaming for having us, and the viewers for watching us. So I had a great time and no regrets, and good game, everybody. Congratulations, Swans.
Good game indeed. I think that pretty much says it all. And I second everything Hefe said. Thank you to the runners. Thank you to our Restream team. Thank you to SpeedGaming. Thank you to Zelfer for sitting beside me. Zelfer, why don't you want to take us home, and then we'll sign off.
Of course. So, also big thank you to the SpeedGaming network here for hosting us, giving us the slot every week. Definitely go make sure you check out these runners. All of them stream, and if you're interested, you can always find our Discord at or our website is ff6wc.com. If you're interested in getting started, it's we've got a tournament going on right now. It's the Moogle's first tournament, so all of the new players, newer players, coming in to race against each other while being guided by a mentor. But beyond that, that's pretty much all we got. So we're going to go ahead and cut it off here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.